I'm going to walk you through the Rick Ginn $100,000 a month routine you can copy. And I'm going to break it down as detailed as I can get it. As I said, we're talking about how to get the blueprint, the mindset, and the routine to earn 100 grand consistently every month. And even though you're not going to start off earning that, if you develop the skill set and the habits up front, amazing things are going to happen with it. So I want to refer back to my 3-3-1 rule. And so there's basically 3 phases to wholesaling. The first one's going to be marketing. So if I had 10 hours in a day or a week, however you guys want to do it, I'd do the 3-3-3-1 approach. So if we have marketing, we have acquisitions, and we have dispositions. So if you don't figure out marketing, don't even worry about the other 2. You're never going to figure it out. So marketing, I'm going to spend a third of my time. I'm going to spend 3 hours. Acquisitions, I spend another 3 hours, and I'm going to spend 1 hour on dispositions. Now, that is a very rough formula, but I'm just telling you, if you're going to prioritize on a scale of 10, a third to marketing, a third to acquisitions, and then the other 1 is going to be on dispositions. Because so many people like, where do I start? The truth of the matter, when you start, it's more like, it's probably double that on marketing. But on average, as you get going, you're going to break it down to a third, and a tenth. The second thing you have to master, no matter to get to the $100,000 a month level, I've never met anybody that didn't do this. They've got to be a ridiculous list ninja. Why? Because you have to understand the list. You got to learn how to pull the correct list. Without the right list, your list is just a prospect. Your list is just, they're like suspects. Call it a murder case. You have X amount of suspects. Within there, a certain percentage of them are deals. It just points you in the right direction. You become a list ninja by doing it. So the easiest way is go over to freewholesaling.com. I teach you step by step. You literally just copy what I do. I can't make it any easier for you. I have no upgrade for you. You just take it. Okay. I'm looking for the people that really want to take massive amounts of action. The ones that do it, they get through it. It's the only difference between the people that have success and the ones that don't. So, but what happens is you keep pulling this list, you learn. And as you get smarter with your data, you find little niches that you like to do. This is how I found probates, guys. I became a list ninja. And I'm here to tell you, you can never spend too much time on a list, because when I put my first 3 lists together, I did not have a lot of money. Back then, we actually had to pay for the list. It was extremely painful. Now you guys have services like listrei.com, which you can do amazing things with. So the technology's changed. There's more people doing it, but I'm here to tell you, you have to become a list ninja. Nobody ever gets to the 100K mark a month without truly mastering lists. Go over to freewholesaling.com if you're just trying to figure that out. I want you to understand that. So now I'm going to give you stuff that I've never met anybody that doesn't make 100 grand or more that does not follow these set of rules. They're going to be harsh, but it's the truth. You're never going to get this in a regular wholesaling course because most people can't handle it. But you guys work with me and Zach, so I know you can handle the truth, because that's the only way I know how to deliver a message. You have to lose any excuses in wholesaling. At the end of the day, you are the only person that's accountable. If you're going to blame me, you're going to blame Zach, you're going to blame your mom, your girlfriend, your wife, your sister, your husband, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle. You cannot blame the market. The market are just an outcome of what people do. So I see people blaming markets, which I find just really ironic. It's terrible. Full disclosure, I used to have a lot of excuses when I started wholesaling. I still did good, but I never achieved greatness till I got rid of excuses. Why? Number one, nobody cares about your excuse. Do you think your sellers, especially your motivated sellers, really care about your excuse? The reason they're reaching out to you is to see if you can solve a problem, usually a big problem, relatively quickly. The last thing you need to do is dump on your motivated sellers, telling them about your problems. Tell me in the comments, and tell me if this is true. Does it drive you nuts outside of family? Like family always dumps on you. There's no other way around it. Outside of family, like your friends, your colleagues, everybody you work with, does it drive you nuts when people tell you every little detail about what's going on and what's negative in their life? I don't know about you, but I just kind of tune it out. It's not that I don't care, but I've learned in my adult life that if you absorb every single problem everybody has around you, it just weighs on you. And it's not that you don't care, it's just exhausting. So here's what the human nature does. It's like, oh, let me one up you. You think that's bad. This is what happened to me today. This happened to me yesterday. People just don't care. Let me give you an example, okay? Tony Robbins, in my opinion, one of the greatest communicators on planet Earth. The guy just cuts to the truth and gets stuff done. When he gets on stage, he does not sit there and dump on people for 30 minutes and tells them everything is going wrong in his life. Do you think he's got issues? Yes, everybody has issues. You have to understand, if you keep telling everybody about your issues and your excuses, they start to avoid you and you can't get anything done. So the sooner you understand this, Olivia sees it right here. It just drives me crazy. And sometimes, do you ever feel like you're a dumping ground for people? Like, okay, hey, look, let me give you this bad news today. This is what happened to me. And then as human nature, we start trying to one up them. Until you understand this philosophy, guys, nobody cares about your excuses. The only reason people put out an excuse, and it could be, I can't wholesale because of this, or I can't work today because of this. Outside of physical health, which we all have bad days. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about people's everyday drama. Even the bad stuff, people just don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. They don't care. And if you do it too much, you're going to be labeled a toxic person and everybody steers away from you. And if you're that person, number one, just be accountable for it. Number two, start being aware of it and just try to stop yourself and keep using your willpower to move forward till you discipline yourself to stop dumping on others. You can't do it in wholesaling because I promise you, your motivated sellers will dump on you. So now, guys, I sit here and tell you I have ADHD just because I'm just trying to make it relatable. I'm not dumping on you. It's just sometimes I have to explain the way I speak, and I get excited. I have fun with what I do, but that's it. Now, if I go to why ADHD can't let me do this and it won't do that, if the story helps, then I'll do it. But if the story's just like, oh, poor Rick, nobody wants to hear it. And that's my biggest challenge with people with excuses. And that's why I was telling you, we come on and we do the lives, is if you don't want to do a solution, you don't want to move forward, I cannot go back in time. You got to go get a specialist for that, and you're going to pay them about $150 an hour to hear your problem. And I'm not dissing on that industry, but you have to move forward. Life constantly changes. I sat through a meeting of grown men today, and we had to make a decision on a very large financial commitment. And you know what the biggest argument was? The gentleman raises up. One of the board members says, I don't want change. And I go, I'm sorry, change is inevitable. Nobody can stop change. You can temporarily stop it, but change always moves forward. And we have to understand that. So we have to lose all excuses because we're not going to get anywhere. This next one's a huge one. And boy, did I learn this one the hard way. And if you're more of like kind of an empath like me, if you're more of like ADHD, you kind of make much more impulsive decisions, you're going to relate to this one. You have to remove your emotions from any business decision. And honestly, this will help you out in your personal life too. If you constantly react to people, which I work on it on a daily basis, but I'm extremely aware of it now. Extremely. When I was younger, I was all over the board. The problem is in business is you can't let emotions make decisions for you. So the reality is, us as wholesalers, we do very well with connecting with people who make emotional decisions. But if you turn it around and use it against yourself, it's a nightmare. And if you get an emotional confrontation with a seller, you're going to lose because you're never going to beat them on that. So we have to make business decisions. We're going to deal with irrational people. We're going to deal with crazy banks. We're going to deal with title companies. We're going to deal with buyers, sellers, and they get emotional. And when they don't like what you have to hear, it gets really emotional. If you try to match that emotional energy, you lose. Remember, emotions just people just wearing their stuff out on their sleeves, and you cannot play poker if you wear your emotions out there. I'm not asking you to be a numb person, but you've got to understand when you go into business, especially when we're dealing with motivated sellers, you should be absorbing 80% of the information telling you. And if you're constantly trying to match them, you're not going to get an 80-20 relationship. It's actually going to be probably the opposite, and you're not going to get deals on it. So at the end of the day, you go home to your family, you take great care of them. If you want to have a long talk with your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, that's the time to do it and kind of work through your emotions on it, but look to always progress. If you wear your emotions on your sleeve, right down here, it's brutal in business, man. Why? Because when I'm in business and someone starts yelling or gets super excited, I go in even deeper composure. Why? Because he or she who has the most control will typically dominate the conversation. It's just a game I've learned well. And you got to understand, when you wear your emotions and you go out there publicly, you just can't get stuff done. So, like, let's face it, we all know personal relationships and family. You even have to learn it in family. And sometimes you have to walk away from conversations because it's your family. Like, you love them, but you didn't pick them. So when it comes to business, you 100% pick who you do business with. Screaming and yelling at people and like getting excited, like, does not help you in business. And if you don't understand that and identify it, you cannot have a scalable business because everything's going to be a knee-jerk reaction. Like today, I got hit with some serious expenses. I had no idea were coming in. I didn't budget for them. I'm a little bit upset about it, but I have to move forward to transact to finish a big deal I'm doing. That's just how business works. Did I want to throw a temper tantrum? I did, but I internalize it. So here's my temper tantrums now. I bottle it up a little bit. I try not to bring it in any business negotiation because once you show your emotions and put them out there for a business setting, you are at a huge disadvantage. People kind of know how you react. Now they know how to work you. And you really can't play the game any longer. So here's what I want you to do is take that emotion, if you're pissed off or upset, and take it, go on a long walk, go on a run, I don't know, go see your favorite movie, go put on your headsets, or go to the gym. That's what I do. You got to channel the energy and make it good. If you just sit there and scream at someone, it's just going to kill you. I believe we all have to have outlets to do it. But guys, this one right here, I'm telling you, it's one of the biggest ones you have to understand. Nick says, I give a lot to have Rick's problems. But like, here's the thing is, we all have problems. It doesn't matter if you're broke or you're well established. Everybody has problems. But if you have more money and you have more time and skill sets, the problems are much more manageable. By the way, I've never met anybody in life that does not have a problem. Problems are part of life, and it's how we learn. And if we didn't have problems, think about how weird life would be. Although I'm not opposed to learning that, but it is what it is. So we have to understand that. So moving on to the next one. This one's huge, man. And it's literally what I mean. It's like, cut the fat. If you are not where you want to be and you've decided you want to take a new direction via wholesaling or whatever it is, you got to understand that life that you took, that you've been doing, it didn't work. It doesn't mean the people are bad in it. But if you use that same blueprint to apply to your new wholesaling business, you're not going to make it. Why? Because habits tend to follow you no matter where you go. Guys, tell me, if you switch from one business to another, if you have the same bad habit with your time management or anything like that, you're going to do the exact same thing. So when I say cut the fat is, take an inventory of everything you hate about what you're doing in your current life business. And if you're deciding to make a change or even a transition, which we're going to talk about, you cannot bring your former self to your new self. And this is where the uncomfortable part of wholesaling shocks people. Because if you're a 9-to-5 employee, you're okay making 75, 80 grand, whatever it was, and then you go, hey, listen, I want to make 100,000 a month, you're going to have to lose your former self to become the new person. Now, it doesn't mean you lose the love and the value for all your family and friends, but you are going to have to cut some fat out of this diet to make it work. You're going to have to wake up early, and you're going to have to manage your time, and you're going to have to set up the time blocking for stuff that produces income generating activities, talking to people, writing contracts, and marketing. And if you're going to sit here and bounce around on your phone and do all this stuff like that, you are going to have the exact same lifestyle you had before. So if you think you're going to make the switch to wholesaling and you're not going to change how you operate in life, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. So what you have to do is make that change. You have to make the commitment. Whatever you did before and it doesn't work, you have to decide to make a change. And this is where people get lost, because it gets wildly uncomfortable and it's terrible. And you feel like crap while you're doing it. But what you're doing is you're churning into the new self you need to be. And all you know is the old self. And you're in this constant battle to go back there no matter what happens. Remember, you made a decision that wasn't going to work out for you. And now you want to take a leap and you follow my directions, and it makes you uncomfortable. And then you have a decision. You can keep fighting through the pain, which is like a bad workout, but you have to focus on where you want to be in the end of the game. Because if you keep focusing where you came from and how painful it is, you're just going to give up and quit. And that's the problem with it. So unless you make that change and commitment, And it's one of the reasons why a lot of people fail in wholesaling is they're just so stuck in their old former self. And if it's something you didn't want, why are you bringing the same rules to the game? You have to change them. Like, you guys got to evaluate the word, I'm going to try. Like, I hear the word try, I cringe. It's like, I hear the word job, I cringe. Job means slavery to me. Guys, I did it for 12 years. So I walked that journey. It sucked. It didn't get me anywhere. When I heard, well, Rick, I'm going to try wholesale, I'm like, don't even bother. The word tries is I'm going to try it 1 or 2 times. And if it doesn't work out, I'm going to quit. You have to go in there just like a UFC fighter and you got to go, dude, I'm going all in. Like, and you're not going to get hurt doing it. So you're not taking the same risk as they are, but you're risking your family's financial future. You got to take that change. So remember, I'm kind of bouncing all over on this. Because I had to sit down. It's kind of like a Rick rant. That's why I do this channel. So we need to find the lists and channels that work and remove the ones that don't. So the reality is you've got to be honest with yourself. I was never a cold caller, but to be honest, no one taught me cold calling and I didn't understand it. And I shied away from it. And until Zach kind of brought into my company when I'm doing it, I realized I made a huge mistake. And if I did it from the get-go, I would have completely dominated wholesaling. Don't get me wrong, I still dominated with the stuff I did, but if I just took the risk and the uncomfortability of doing that, and you're talking about a guy who loved the door knock. I had no problem door knocking. I love people face to face, which is the only downside to the internet, by the way. But anyways, you guys don't have to plane and do all that other stuff. So what we mean by this is when you find, you guys, I always tell people, try to pick one marketing channel in the beginning. Most of you lean towards cold calling and SMS, which is perfectly fine, but you've got to understand sometimes they just don't work. So if you're going to struggle cold calling and you know it's just not going to be a good fit, be brutally honest with yourself. But some of you have to do it due to financial constraints, or maybe you don't have a car or anything like that. It is the most efficient way to contact as many people as humanly possible to see if they want to sell their property. That's why cold calling is so dominant in the marketplace, especially for wholesalers. But so I did TV ads for a long time. Oh boy, I spent a fortune. I barely broke even on them. Like, we tried and tried. I've tried radio. It's not a good fit for me because, as you know, with radio, it's much more of a general area. It's going to cover like a 200 to 300 mile range. So it's hard to get it for specific. And I've tried all the local stations. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars between TV and radio. And I've learned in the long run, between my own business and all the other business, there's just some things don't transcribe in wholesaling. And so, but like, listen, I've had other people have success with it. Maybe I don't believe in it. It's hard to scale and it is definitely not for the beginner. But the problem is I want a return on my investment. I don't want to just get by and break even. So what I'm saying is, when you do your marketing and you start dealing with customers and your closings, you're going to identify certain areas that like you get excited about and you think you can do some real damage. And that's the way to really progress in the business. Don't keep doing the same things that are never making you any money. So instance, if you did direct mail for 6 months and you didn't get a deal, you did something wrong. You either got bad advice or you got a bad blueprint and you need to fix it or stop it, because it's not going to get it better. It's only going to get it worse. On the flip side, if you started direct mail and you gave it 2 weeks and you quit because you didn't get a lead, you definitely don't understand direct mail and you shouldn't be doing it. So understand, when you get into it, if you pick 2 or 3 channels, you're usually going to find one you dominate in, and then you keep testing. By the way, I've been in this business 20 years. I never stopped testing. I never stopped testing. The minute you stop testing, I promise you're going to miss out on some sort of channel. Now, here's the problem. Gurus and coaches know this. This is why they sell you the shiny object syndrome. I'm going to teach you innovations. I'm going to teach you a strategy where you don't have to own the property. I'm going to teach you how to fix and flip. I'm going to teach you how to do lease options. I'm going to teach you how to do options. I'm going to teach you how to be an Airbnb and make millions of dollars to do it. They know all this. This is why they do it. And we all fall suckers for it. I've been a sucker for it. A lot of you have. And in the beginning, you got to stick to the core of wholesaling and understand the fundamentals of it, and it will make a tremendous difference. Down the road, if you want to dabble and explode in it, because you guys have kind of understand by now how this business works on that. Next one, you got to plan your day. If you do not plan your day the night before, your day will be planned for you and it's going to be crap. Sorry. If you can't take 10, 15 minutes out to plan out your next 24 hours ahead of time, you're going to struggle. You're never going to make 100K a month. It's impossible without doing it. So I take 5 days a week and they are all planned out. Now, you should already have about a quarter of your schedule booked out. You should be reviewing your budgets. You should be reviewing your marketing plans. You should be looking at key meetings with employees or with yourself or your spouse, whoever it is, and try to hit your key target numbers. And then you plan on a monthly basis, and then you're doing weekly. And then I get it, stuff comes up. Now, here's what I don't do. I do not plan 24 hours of my day out. I do time blocks, 2-hour time blocks. That's the most I'll do. Because why? I know how I am. I need a break. I did not get in this business to work 24 hours a day. And people go, oh, I'm just going to work. I'm going to out hustle. Dude, go for it. But like, if you're going to be in the business 20 years, there's no way you got into wholesaling to leave your corporate job to work twice as hard. I'm sorry. Even if all the money in the world was there, why would you do all that? That sounds like misery to me. And that's the risk you run when running these large scale teams. The truth of the matter is you can only scale wholesaling so far. So wholesaling, the real fruits of wholesaling is the assets you can purchase in the long run. Initially, we're generating cash to get free. Then you can collect whatever you want. You can take some rental houses, you can cherry pick some hotels, and eventually pick up some small commercial properties. And that's how you get financially free, guys. So many people right now are trying to sell you this big, one day it's 10 houses, then it's 15, then it's 30, then do a deal a day, then 45, 50. Guys, that takes a staff. And if you want to do that, that's great. But I'm here to tell you, to sell it to you as a beginner is a waste of my time and your time. You got to get at least 2 years under your belt before you can even consider it. And how hard do you want to work? Because I'm going to be honest with you, there's other industries, if you had to put in those kind of hours, you'd probably do better. The overhead is tremendous. You will be married to an office, chained to a desk, and you're going to do tons of meeting. Now, if it fits your lifestyle and that's your, go for it. I don't care. I hate that stuff. I like freedom. I like to do what I want. And I'm not here to tell you I'm going to make the most amount of money, but I promise you I'm going to have the most amount of fun and I'm going to enjoy it, because I got stuck in the 80-hour-a-week corporate job, and that wholesaling was my freedom to get out of it. So plan your day, or your day gets planned for you. We're almost done here, I promise. The next one, when in doubt, just market more. You can never market enough in this business, especially in the beginning. Do I need to repeat that? You have to market like crazy. Why? Because you have zero momentum when you start out, and then you just keep marketing, and I never stop. Now, the really cool part is I've done this so long, I never have a shortage of deals. And even if I took a break, which I never would, I still get at least 2 to 3 deals given to me every month, just from all the networking I've ever done with people. And then I add on what you guys do, and then we add on our regular business. And guys, I'm full. This is why I don't go on 7 days a week, and I don't do coaching. Why? Because I only want to work with people that really want to do it. The reality of coaching is they make it so super sexy. They'll take anybody. You pay them a fee, and then they know only about 5 to 10% of you guys are going to do anything. And they take full advantage of it, and it's terrible. All you have to do is double down on your marketing. Okay, this next one's going to be a shocker. It's going to be a real shocker. You better, if I had a hat, I would hold it on right now. You ready? You got to always tell the truth. We have a big phenomenon happening in wholesaling now. And it started around 2014, especially 15. I saw this shift. The amount of lying going on in this business is catastrophic. It's terrible. You can't believe anything what anybody says anymore. And my God, if it's got a paid ad onto it, why would you ever believe it? It's a one-sided conversation and a one-sided outcome. I don't care what you say. I believe in advertising, but it's gotten so diluted with social media. People can do paid ads. They can do paid publishing. Heck, did you know you go stand in front of the New York Stock Exchange if you write a check big enough and get your name on there? There is nothing you can't do that you can't buy anymore. So the old days of getting publicized and stuff, you had to earn it. I don't believe one publication even out there anymore. So you now have to find channels where you can find people that are of authority, people you can trust and actually do what they say. And you're going to struggle in wholesaling finding that. And I get attacked on this on a daily, if not weekly basis. I'm not part of the posse. I don't join, hey, come speak at my event. I speak at yours. There's a reason I don't speak at events, because I know what I do is correct. I know I'm authentic, and I know it's true. So if I have to go out and sell it and travel all over the country, why would I give up all my time to do that? Listen, I've been to every type of seminar, and at the end, I've been to every one of them. At the end of the day, they are all 100% pep rallies. That's all. It's all to get in your back pocket. Some of them provide some pretty cool services, but for the most part, at the end of the day, they're in, they're out, and you're gone. And you're stuck there, and then you got to figure out how to do the marketing. And then, you know what you guys do? You come on the lives with me and Zach, and we tell you, hey, that's a crappy deal. This is what you need to do. Let's go. And I just tell you the truth, and it hurts. And you're like, you know what? You save me a lot of time and aggravation. That's what we need in this industry, and that's the movement I want to go towards. And if you want to be a part of it, you're in the right place, because I just tell the truth. You will not find one guru to endorse me, and I love that part of it. You know why? Because the day a guru endorses me, I'm probably in trouble, because every guru is uncomfortable around me and Zach. Why? We just tell the truth. There is a big difference when you tell the truth and you're just marketing for people's coaching dollars. It is a tremendous difference. So I don't need everyone to agree with me on this. Honestly, I don't care, because I'm set in my ways. I know what the truth is, guys. I have fought this battle. I'm in 21 years in wholesaling. There's very few people that haven't seen more than I have in this business. I love this business. Something happened in 2014. I can't really I think it's mostly social media and the advent of the internet and everybody getting access to it. And now everybody's like a rock star. So I'm just here to tell you guys, the amount of success stories you see on the internet and the reality, it's like night and day. I don't even know how to tell you this. It just drives me nuts. Okay. So what I'm going to do is do the last thing. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I had a corporate job for 12 years before I started wholesaling. I did not break free till I was 33. And I'm here to tell you, I did everything wrong. I went to college. I'm not saying college is wrong. My son went to college. My daughter went to college. But to me, it's just basic education. It is not a skill set to make money. I still think it's a trade school for medical, for engineering, and for law. I'm probably missing one or two. You guys can let me know on it. Outside of that, if you go to college for business, unless you go like the School of Wharton or something like that, in my opinion, you're better off just working for someone for a small fee and learn their business and work with them. And you can decide to eventually go in as a partner or go off on your own. That's how business works. And the sooner you figure that out, because the colleges, like somebody graduating from college to come in my business for wholesaling, I have no interest. Like, I don't care. Honestly, I'm a little bit concerned. So the secret of college students from people like me that employ them is the reason I like college students. You know why? Because if I'm hiring for a job and say I got a marketing position or a social media position, it's, do you comply and will you do what I tell you to do? Oh, you went to college, most likely you will, because you comply to it. It's just the truth, guys. Now, if I want a social media specialist or someone to do a creative marketing campaign, I don't want you to have I'm never going to penalize you having a college degree, but I promise you what the professor taught you is not going to help you or my business. If anything, it's going to be the opposite. So I love to hire people go, listen, I went out on my own. I tried this. I did that. I had success here. I failed terribly at that. My favorite people in the world to hire, because they understand how life works. Somebody decided college was this magic permission slip to do whatever you want. So here's the reality of college, guys. So, you know, college is the best way to go to find a good or high paying job. That's it. It was never designed for someone to go out on their own. So keep in mind, I went to college. All my siblings went to college. My kids have gone to college. My nephews, nieces, everyone's gone to college. But it is no longer the thing that makes you above the pack. Actually, it puts you at average, if not below the pack, in my opinion now. You have so many choices right now. So if you're a young person, hear me loudly. Do what you need to do to fulfill the life you want. And stop being scared and living under your parents with it. And if you're going to go to college, just get through it quickly as you can. And it should never be the best time of your life. And if it is, you don't have a lot to look forward to. It's just the truth. So, okay. So back to this. So I had a job. I worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car. You know, you can be your own boss. The reality was, I had to wash cars. I worked 10 to 12 hours a day, and I was a good little soldier. And I moved, I think, 4 times with the company. And right away when I had Zach, I decided I can't do this forever. And that's when I started like thinking about it. It took me years to make the decision. Why? Because I was scared to death. So a lot of you like this are watching it. You're like, man, I was just like, I can't keep doing this. I hated my boss with a passion, and I decided not to do it. So I found, so here's the secret. I didn't find wholesaling right off the bat. I found real estate investing. And then from there, I ran out of properties to buy because I was going to buy 10 homes and then retire in 10 years. And that all fell to hell. And then I figured out wholesaling. And then I went all around the country trying to find people to help me do it. Honestly, even back in 2003 and 4, people were ripping me off left and right. It was just a much bigger scale. Today, it's a smaller amount, but the amount of people chasing you are even worse than I've ever seen. It's like the Wild West. So here's what I did, guys. I decided I had 24 hours in a day, and my 8 to 12 hours at work was nothing. Like, the reality is you only spend about 2 quality hours there. And so I decided on my lunch break, I did driving for dollars. I even did bandit signs, and I even started a direct mail campaign after I got a few deals under my belt. And lo and behold, I think around the 7th to 8th month, that's when I went to my boss's office and tried to quit. And he did everything in the world to try to keep me on. And it's just kind of funny. Now I'm a valuable employee when they ignored me for 12 years. And the rest is history. I just went in. But here's the deal is, guys, there's 24 hours in a day. So my go time, I didn't get home till like 6:30 and 6:30 to 9:30. So I spend 3 hours, 5 days a week, minimum, marketing like crazy. And then I tried to schedule all my appointments for Saturday. Now, today's age, that's not as easy to do because people want to meet with you quicker, but you always have your nights and your evenings. I want everybody to be safe doing this, but if you think you have a 9-to-5 job and you're stuck, guys, there's 24 hours in a day. Like, most quality businesses are not built on 8-hour workdays. It's a facade. It's BS. You're going to put in more hours in your first 2 years in wholesaling than you are in your corporate job. It's just the truth. Why? Because you need quantity and you need a skill set to learn. And then once you do that, you can transfer over and do that. But without it, you got to put the work in. There's no way. So I would do 6:30 to 9:30. That was 5 days a week. And then Saturday was wide open to do whatever I need. And then Sunday, I tried to spend more time with the family, but I'm going to tell you, I did a lot of marketing and a lot of meetings on Sunday. So I did that for 7 months nonstop. I made decent money, but remember, I had a regular job. And I decided when my regular job was going to hinder my wholesaling operations, I would quit. And until I hit that point, I waited. And I think it worked out really well for me, because if I quit from day one and did wholesaling, I probably would have create a lot of anxiety and fear like a lot of you guys have. And it's okay if you want to do both. I did it. So I'm not a hypocrite. Like, I had a mortgage, guys. I had a family to take care of. I had 2 young children, and it was not an easy decision for me. Why? Because I had very little guidance for people to walk me down that path at that time. Now you guys have people like me and Zach. There's tons of other wonderful people out there. Here's the challenge. You have to find someone that's going to tell you the truth. And that's the challenge in this business. And that's the part that I'm beyond frustrated. The amount of lies and deceit going on in this business, like, you just, if you ever go to a seminar or any type of pep rally, if you ask a challenging question, I almost guarantee you're going to be lied to, or you're going to be escorted out of the arena. Guarantee it. Why? Because I've done this my entire career. Whenever that's why I stopped going to them, because the minute someone who knows what they're talking about says, well, how do you define profit? Or, hey, can you show me a HUD you recently did? And they keep showing you students. I already kind of know what's going on with it. And the minute you do that, you're asked to leave. And it's not nice. And I see it all the time. So if you know that's going on, that means they're looking for people that aren't going to ask questions, that just want to buy the dream. Because, guys, you can buy the dream, but you have to do the work. And if you think you're going to separate the two, you are going to get crushed in this business. So